Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. Hopefully, everybody's got full bellies from an awesome Thanksgiving. And guess what? Today's Black Friday, and today's show is going to be a little bit different. We do Raiders Report mailbags often every single week on the program, but since I did not go live on Tuesday or on Thursday, since it was Thanksgiving week, and I am recording this video on November 25th, that's probably why you guys have seen me wear the same thing every single day. And guess what? I'm going to wear the same thing tomorrow. If this mailbag gets 2,000 likes, I'm going to do another social media mailbag. I think at this time of the year, I'm always looking for content that fans enjoy because I want you to want to watch the Raiders Report. So I saw a fan earlier this week be like, Mitch, what if you did a social media mailbag? If today's show gets 2,000 likes, I will do another social media mailbag like you are going to see today. Let's go to the very first question. It's from Sick. What up, dude? They can't protect the quarterback or create holes for Jeanty. How can we fix this offensive line? I think you have to want to fix the offensive line. You can't say, we're going to go out and we're going to sign Alex Kappa and offensive line's fixed. But I don't really think that we're as far away as what people think because, again, this is the kind of the exact same offensive line we had the year before that was top 15 in a lot of metrics, top 16 to be exact in a lot of metrics. Because I think we got Colt Miller at left tackle. You put JPJ at center. You can see what you got in Charles Grant, Caleb Riders. I actually think I would like the idea more of kicking Charles Grant over to the right tackle spot. You might be able to move DJ Glaze in to right guard. You have Caleb Rogers. Let him compete with somebody along the lines of a Jordan Meredith. But if I'm the Raiders, I'm either spending big money in free agency to go get somebody on that interior offensive line. I need somebody that's legit, or I'm going to invest one of my top 2 picks in an offensive lineman that is a day 1 starter. Can't afford to draft 2 offensive linemen in the 3rd round and not play them. I honestly think if you do that, you're going to fix the offensive line. If you put JPJ at center, you'd be amazed how quickly it would change. Let's go to Jacob. You're next up here on the program. What would a perfect offseason look like for us, in your opinion? Draft, free agency, coach hires, and fires. I promise you this, I will end up doing a video like this a little bit more in detail. I'll just talk from the start point. Perfect offseason needs to start with a conversation with your GM, your front office of what is the plan for this organization? Where are we trying to go forward with? To me, my dream head coaching hires, I'm going to say there's 3, maybe 4 names that I would really, really consider. I'm on the Clint Kubiak, Jesse Minter, Shula hype train. I'm actually intrigued by Brian Flores. I think Mike McCarthy is another name that I would throw out there. But I'm looking at drafting a quarterback. I'm looking at drafting an offensive lineman. And then in free agency, yes, I want to be able to go out there and spend. We have a lot of money to be able to spend, but we have so many holes, okay? What we can't afford to do is just go out and spend big money on like 1 or 2 or 3 players. I honestly think we need to be able to go out and find 10 to 11 starters. However we go out and find 10 to 11 starters in the draft and free agency is the perfect plan. But it starts with having that conversation with your front office. Let's go to Depressed Raider fan. What up, Depressed Raider fan? When will Geno Smith be suspended? Unfortunately, I don't think that the Raiders are going to do it. Now, again, I'm recording this video on Tuesday. I hope that Pete Carroll proves me wrong. I hope John Spytek reads my text messages and proves me wrong again. Because to me, Geno Smith has to be suspended. And I have Geno Smith actually here on the program. So if you guys want to go down to the comments section, what would you like to say to Geno? You could say anything to him because he's going to turn his comments off on a social media post. He's already blocked me. So I got an opportunity for you right now. Go down to the comments section and tell Geno anything you want. And here's my thing, though. If you curse, it's going to get blocked. So be clean. Be somewhat respectful, even though he hasn't been respectful to us. Let's go to Steer Shy Guy. Hopefully I got that right. Free agents to sign or players the Raiders should trade for during the offseason. The trade word is a very intriguing one, and I want to say this. I do not want to trade for any players, and I mean I do not want to trade for any players, especially at the quarterback position this upcoming year. But from a free agent standpoint, I'm looking at Tyler Lindenbaum. I think he's a great center overall. Like, if the Raiders aren't going to put JPJ at center, I think being able to dominate in the trenches, again, when you draft Ashton Jeanty at number 6 overall, you got to be able to prove to me that you can go out there and you can win. I've seen people say George Pickens. George Pickens, I know he's a super talented player, but I want no part of George Pickens because George Pickens is the type of player that you give $30 million to, $35 million to, and then he stinks for the entire year because he's not going to give you 110% with the Las Vegas Raiders. You know, I'm looking at a Travis Jones defensive tackle on the interior. I think somebody like that could be intriguing. Maybe an edge rusher along the lines of a Jalen Phillips, a John Franklin Myers, another defensive line player. And then I'm going to go one more. Let's go with, I'm not going to say Reek Woolen. How about Khalil Mack? Would you guys like Khalil Mack? We need to build in the trenches. Offensive line, defensive line. If I'm going to spend big, offensive line, defensive line is what I'm looking at. Let's go to Jay Ray. What up, Jay Ray? Should Caleb Rogers start next Sunday at right guard? So against the Chargers, I have no problems with this at all. You know, like at this point, I would rather see Caleb Rogers play over Alex Kappa and over Will Putnam. And if that means at right guard, if that means at left guard, I don't give a flying flip. Because if I'm Pete Carroll and I'm Brennan Carroll, I'm trying to save my job. Saving your job, you have a better chance of saving your job if you play Caleb Rogers on the offensive line compared to if you play Will Putnam, compared to if you play Alex Kappa, because those guys have no future with this organization. Kappa's not going to be on this roster next season when we move on from Pete Carroll as a head coach. And because I know that, well, I believe in that is what I should say. I think you just got to see what you got in the guys that you drafted, because why would I keep an organization that's proven to me that you can't develop talent when you had 11 draft picks? Doesn't make any sense. Let's go to Samuel Sanderson. What's up, my brother? Should we tank the rest of the season for a quarterback? If not, why? The reason why I don't want to tank is because, one, you don't have to, right? Like, when I hear the word tank, it's we should try to lose on purpose. You don't need to try to lose on purpose. You just show up on game day and you're going to lose. That's how bad the Pete Carroll Raiders are. The other reason why I don't want to try to tank is because I want good coaches, good players to want to come play for the Las Vegas Raiders. And the other thing that scares me is when you use the word tank. When I hear tank, it's expected. I don't want Mark Davis, John Spytek to think that what Pete Carroll is doing is expected. He did not expect to lose. And because Pete Carroll did not expect to lose, that if he tanks, that means we get to bring him back next season. If you bring back Geno Smith, or if you bring back Pete Carroll next season, that means you're going to bring back Geno Smith next season. And the biggest reason why you can't bring back Pete and Geno is because I think if they do, they're not going to take a quarterback, because Pete proves every single week that Geno Smith is off limits, and he cares more about Geno Smith than the Las Vegas Raiders. We got some more questions coming up here in just a moment, but today's show is presented by Panda Supps. Now, I'm an honest human being, okay? You go to pandasupps.com. You can use code Raiders for 25% off. I don't want you to use code Raiders, all right? The owner of Panda Supps is a diehard Raiders fan. He rocks with us all the time. Panda Supps does unbelievable Black Friday deals. Way better than 25% off. I don't have a code for Black Friday. Murbad, you haven't sent me anything yet. It's all good. I'm recording here on Tuesday. And I'll just say it like this. If you've ever wanted Panda Supps products, go to pandasupps.com and look at their Black Friday deals. I don't need credit because at the end of the day, this is owned and operated by a diehard Raider, and I want him to be able to have some money. I want him to be able to see and show all y'all how awesome his products are. So go to pandasupps.com. Whether you want to get your hand on some protein, whether you want to get their hands on their brand new Pando pre-workout, the best deal, the best day to go get Panda Supps is Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So be on the lookout for those deals. But their brand new protein, it is unbelievable. I know I've said before that I like peanut butter. I love peanut butter cups. And during Halloween, man, I was fighting my own demons trying to not go out and crush peanut butter cups. This Fuel Premium Protein from Panda is one of my new favorites. And it's got that Thanksgiving Day feel. If you're somebody like me that's got a sweet tooth, then I am really, really trying to eat healthier. I know earlier in the week I said had a little bit of a health scare. My health scare right now, I am okay. I am healthy. My cholesterol is way too high for my age. So I have had to make the decision. I have been talking to my wife about it because she can snack. I can't snack. If it's in the house, I crush it. I've been doing a lot more Panda Supps because I have that sweet tooth. The peanut butter one is really, really helping me get on the right track. And I'm not afraid to admit my own problems. I got a sweet tooth. Panda Supps helped me through it. PandaSupps.com. Let's go to DC. What up, bro? When will there be changes for young prospects for at least to get a shot, some playing time? Pete Carroll clearly lost the driver's seat to this team. Pete Carroll is in the driver's seat, and that's kind of the problem. Right now, we got a guy leading the ship that doesn't know how to drive stick. And I don't know how to drive stick. I remember the one time when I was in Germany, I literally never drove in Germany because I didn't know how to drive stick. And the family that I was with at the time, they only had stick shifts. But I don't know if it's ever going to change because if Pete Carroll gets to call the shots, he's just going to be stubborn over and over and over again. And that's just going to be how he likes to run this team. If Pete Carroll says, you know what, I am going to listen to John Spytek, I am going to listen to that front office, it's time to play the younger players, it is time to play the younger players. But if I were to circle a game of when I think it could potentially happen, I'm going to circle the game that is end up being Week 15 against Philadelphia. And the only reason why that I say that, because I don't think Pete's going to make a change this week against the division rival in the Chargers, and I don't think they're going to make a change against the Broncos because in their mind, they probably think that we almost beat them. And yes, on the scoreboard, we did almost beat them. But the game that I'm going to be looking at is Week 15 against Philadelphia. Let's go to Swaggy Duck. What up, Swaggy Duck? Is Maxx Crosby gone this offseason? What would it take to give him up? Oh, man. I think if you keep Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, this number doubles of what the possibility is. I want to be very clear. Maxx Crosby has not told me anything in regards to Pete Carroll, but Max wants to win, and he wants to win right now, and he wants his team to get going in the right direction. Keeping Pete Carroll is the opposite of getting this team going in the right direction. I would want 3 first-round picks. I don't know if you're going to be able to get it, even though his contract is very favorable. I don't see Max going anywhere. The year that you should be concerned about is 2027 because I've said it 100 times. When Max signed his deal, they structured it for if he needed to be dealt, it would be in the year 2027. The Raiders need to be able to figure it out or else there is a chance 98 is somewhere else. Let's go to Ed. What approach do the Raiders take for the last third of the season when it comes to playing time and younger talent? I don't know what their plan is because I don't think that they know what their plan is. If it was up to me, it's all about testing the waters. It's about finding what is wrong. And whether that's, I get it, you fired McMahon, you fired Chip Kelly, I would test out Aiden O'Connell. I'd test out Kenny Pickett, right? If Aiden goes in the game and he fails, let's try Kenny Pickett. If Kenny Pickett goes in the game and he fails, let's try Geno Smith with Greg Olsen. If Greg Olsen can't get Geno Smith going, well, then we got a whole other problem. We just have so many issues, and this is the problem with the Raiders right now. It's so hard to be able to talk about this team from an evaluation standpoint because they do nothing good. And when you do nothing good and all you do is fail every single game day, I think we have identified hundreds of problems. How can we find solutions to those problems? It's testing out different equations. And it might not be the answer that you want, but at this point, I think it's the only option that I can give you for an answer. So I had a little issue with my ball. Let's do a ball knowledge test here. And I want you all to have a little bit of fun with this. I want you to name a random Raiders player. Random Raiders player. I don't want to hear Derek Carr. Derek Carr ain't a random Raiders player. I want you to think about like when you and your buddies are hanging out. I don't know if you talk about stats. I don't know if you talk about old games. Give me a player when you bring him up. People are like, oh, shit, man, I did forget about that guy. The first player that I just thought of, Chris Warren, Baby Bo. I remember when people were calling Chris Warren Baby Bo Jackson. Who's yours? Kelechi Osemele. That's a hell of one. If you can spell that correct, I'm going to give you extra bonus points. Let's go to Rebel Raider. What up, Reb? What's it going to take for Pete to get fired? Just keep showing up every single day and doing exactly the same thing that he's going to do. If Pete does that, he's going to get fired. I am more confident every single day that the Raiders are going to move on from Pete Carroll based on all the information reports that are out there. Raider Jim, what's going on, brother? Now that Olsen is calling the plays, will Geno play better given that Olsen gives the quarterback the ability to audible. I don't know if it's true that Chip Kelly didn't give Geno Smith the ability to audible. I think it's a really easy cop-out for Pete. I think it's a really easy cop-out for this organization. And I think it's a really easy cop-out for Geno Smith because anybody that followed Chip and anybody listening to Chip loved Geno Smith. Chip wanted Geno Smith to throw the ball more. And even Chip Kelly said in an interview this week, I have huge, huge respect for Geno Smith. So, I think that this is the exact same thing of, again, I personally have not heard this from any reliable sources. I think this is the equivalent of the Raiders organization saying that JPJ isn't smart enough to play center. They say that because there's nothing that I can point to or prove, nothing y'all can point to prove that that's true, right? We can't do it. And I think right now you're hearing this story because it's an easy cop-out. But do I think Geno Smith's going to play better with Greg Olsen? Maybe. Do I think Chip Kelly was the biggest problem? No. Was he a problem? Yes. The offensive line is going to be still bad. Geno Smith still bad at football. And even if you improve a little bit, it would be like me saying, we have poop. And we had diarrhea with Chip, and now it's poop. It's still shit, man. Let's go to Donald DeBall. What up, Donald? Aside from Max, Bowers, JPJ, and Jeanty, who else is a must-keep next season? I mean, A.J. Cole's the best punter in the NFL. Colt Miller's one of the best tackles in the NFL. I would love to be able to bring back Eric Stokes. I think that's somebody very, very important that you got to try to bring back. But when I think of pillar players, guys that you have to be able to keep on this team and guys that you have to continue to build around, Max, Bowers, JPJ, A.J. Cole, Colton Miller are probably your 5 biggest pillar players. But I would love to be able to bring back Eric Stokes. I think he's been able to prove that he's a solid player, especially on the outside there. Jeremy Chin is another very reliable player. We have a lot of free agents, no doubt about it. But we also do have some good young talent that we still need to be able to build with going forward. If you didn't know I'm going to be going live for the Raiders-Chargers game, then hey, my name is Mitchell Renz. You're watching the Raiders Report, and we go live for every single Raiders game day. I know this game's at 4:25 Eastern time. I want to go live at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's 85 minutes before kickoff. I know it's a little bit earlier than what we have typically done, but I enjoyed the tailgate portion of our game days way more than I enjoy the game day. So if you feel the exact same way, I hope I see you there bright and early, ready to rock and roll when the Raiders go into SoFi Stadium and actually are able to take over a stadium.